Hello and welcome to another edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm your host, Vanelli. Now our topic today, let me pull this up here, is yes, three steps to improve your photos. And when I saw this, I just started laughing, Wolfgang, because it popped up right as I was about to go on air. You showed up with that comment. Yes, so what I'm going to show you, and all of you do this, we all do this. So there's three things I would say more than three, but there are things you always do to every photo. No matter what you do, you look at a photo, and subconsciously, if you've been editing for a long time, they're just instinctive things that you do. And once you catch yourself doing this, it's best to create a template or something to get you off to a good start. And let me just dive right in to show you what I'm talking about here. And I'll use this image here. Now, this right here doesn't count, Wolfgang, as my one step. I typically start with a template. That just gets the ball rolling for me. And I usually let AI pick what it feels the template can use. And I gotta tell you, this fast fix does a really good job for me. And I'll show you when we get into the edit panel why. When I get to the edit panel, these are things I just typically do to every one of my images. I start out with the Enhance AI, which is Accent AI. And for this image, look at this. I'm gonna give it a generous amount. And then I typically, and again, you don't have to go in order. This isn't a set order. What I do is, what bothers me the most about this image? That's how I plan my attack. So I look at this image, what bothers me the most? Well, let's throw a template on it, which I did, to see what it thinks. Now let's continue with enhancing. I typically run right to Accent AI. Now sometimes the sky enhancer could go a little too much on me. So I like it right about here, that's good. So I have that pretty well set. Then I come down here to the light tool. And I've said this many times. Look at this. There are so many options we have here. A couple things I try to do is here, I want this particular image itself, I want to find the profile strictly for this image. Since I didn't shoot this image, I wish I did, I would have my camera profile right in here. Since I don't have one, I'm going to rely on Luminar's, and I could build one if I want to spend more time, which we'll talk about that on another episode. But that would be a good choice, is to get the camera profile here, and that's again if I'm shooting raw, and then just look at some of the white balances. I may end up liking just as shot. Yeah, these two I really use. And of course, flash isn't going to do it for me. As shot looks really good. All right. So again, I'll jump into light, typically to just enhance my black, enrich the blacks, bump up the shadows a little bit if needed. But typically here is making sure the profile. Now, when I use my own images, I set my default profile for my particular camera. So when my camera is connected, or my images are shot from my camera profile will pop up here, and I typically set mine to a portrait because I'm a portrait shooter. Canon people love, what is the, I think it's the real or realism. There's one that most Canon users use that constantly puts your colors right in line. So, all right, so I have those two. And the third thing I like to do is come down here to super contrast, and then just adjust highlights, midtones, and then shadows. Right there. All right. Excuse me. So here's before here's after, again, with a template. And then I just used 3 of my favorite tools just to start out with. Now, like I said before, that doesn't mean this is the end all. Doesn't mean I have to start with all of these 3. I typically look at the image, think what bothers me the most about that image, and then I go through my edits based on that. Now, to finish this particular image off, yeah, structure will be pretty good. Let's boost the vibrancy. There we go. And the colors. Maybe dial down the saturation just a little bit. And, you know, we can spend a little more time with it if we wanted to. I just want to do a real quick edit. There we go. So notice that vignette. Look at that. Just enough to draw attention right to the middle. All right? So that's one. Let me go back to my catalog. All right, let me jump into the questions. I know, Pat, yeah, the light switch does not have that on and off switch. I wish it did, the toggling. One, I wish it did. Good, yes, Wolfgang, we're going to be working more on camera profiles, and I think the reason why that's on my forefront right here on my mind is Rich Harrington and I went through like 20 minutes he spent on profiles with me, and it was something that I've always just used my own profiles, and he showed me how by using the Adobe DNG converter, you could bring in the Adobe profiles for all these images, and then he showed me how I can create my own. So that's why that's on the tip of my mind. But let's come back to another image. All right. Hello, Russell. Glad you made it. All right, so here's another image. Again, we can start with templates, go into it, and do my routine. Now, typically, you're going to develop favorites. Now, I know Fast Fix is going to make this look good. Look at that. Or I can do clean light. So after a while, even your quick, processing needs develops another quick processing need. Like I said here, instead of letting AI figure out what it wants to do to this image, I know after editing these images for so long that Fast Fix looks really good and clean light. And those are the 2 that I set as favorites. Come over to the edit. All right, let's check this out. Look at that. Now, there's not a whole lot we can do with the clouds, and I can change the cloud. That doesn't mean I should. I like how the clouds are right here. They just look moody for this shot. Jump over here. Oh, now look at this. So this camera, in fact, let's see what camera was used. I'm going to come to the catalog. It was shot with a CR2, so it was shot with, the raw is CR2, so that's a Canon. So it was photographed with a Canon camera. So the profiles that we're going to see are meant for the Canon camera. So let's check them out as soon as it renders. Here it is. So I can select that's a Camera Faithful. So Camera Faithful is the one that most of the Canon users have. Look at that. And yes, Pat, I wish we had an on and off switch here, because then we could definitely see the changes that did. Look at this. Before, after. Yeah, but that camera Faithful, I really like it. And what you can do is come down here and set as a default for this camera. So now, that profile for this particular camera, it's going to constantly use this profile for it. I don't need to mess with the white balance because I like where it's at. And we'll touch up, like I said, enrich the blacks a little bit. And in doing that, I know I'm going to have to bump up the whites a little and then bring out the shadows just a touch. But look how richer it's looking. And then super contrast. Let's see what it feels. Well, I like that. Mid-tone, ooh, look at that. Nice. And there's my shadows. Okay. And typically, once I get something like this, once I typically get something about this, right about to here, is where I would save it as my own template so I can apply them to the entire images. Now, I can come up here, and that doesn't mean once I set those three that I can't touch anything else. All I'm saying is you catch yourself relying on the same ones over and over and over again, create a template so you can jump right to the good starting point. Let's see this. I'm going to bring this back a little bit. Is there any color cast? Let's see. All right, that looks good. And how do we want to finish it off? Let's try the vignette. And let's see what that does. There we go. You know what? Let's pop a little light in here. Great. All right. Now, that doesn't mean, and this took us a whole, 2 minutes? 2 minutes to edit this. And if you're the type, which I do this to myself too, you get one-click guilt trip. You get a one-click template guilt trip. You click on a template, it looks beautiful. You're like, oh man, but what? I didn't do anything to it except apply a template. Well, let me do a couple other things because I feel guilty. If you love photo editing, have at it. If you have a job to do to where this right here has to get out the door immediately, fix it, move on to the next one. Fix it, move on to the next one. All right, so from this here, I'm going to come to the portrait tools, face. I'm going to light her face. Excessive. Right about there, that looks good. Now I'm looking at 3 different monitors just to see which one I like the best. And I'm hoping my monitor here is displaying the rich colors better than the other two. So I'll have to recalibrate all this. All right, and what else does an image need? Typically sharpening. So you can either do that through details here, or, in fact, I'll reset it, or just come to structure and let structure AI kind of help out, because structure AI is human aware. It knows that there's a person in the scene, so her skin isn't going to be affected by the sharpening. Her surroundings and her jacket and her hat will. All right? So let's do this before and after. You got to love that. All right, so start throwing some questions in here. Let's see. Let me pull up some of the questions. Hello. Yes, okay, so we answered all those questions here. Pat, I've done that before. I'm taking it must be something Russell said. All right. There we are. All right, guys, well, there we have it. You look at, like I said, you'll just look at an image, and the reason why I'm not touching these two here yet, let me put it up here. I'm not touching the portrait yet, because next week I'm going to give you my portrait workflow. But because, again, we're only 15 minutes into the show, I feel guilty that we did this, that it was such a quick episode. I'll prolong it just a little bit more. Again, I'm going to come over to the template. Let it help me think which one. Which one? Oh, I see what I did. I went to the marketplace. Let it figure out which one it'll look good with. Ooh, that's a nice matted feel. Oh, okay. Well, There I am, backlit clouds. Before, after. I honestly, hello, Gerardo, hello. So here we are. Now I'm going into my guilt trip again. It's already looking good. Look at that. What more do I need to do to it? Well, again, if I feel like I have to, let's come over here to enhance. How's that looking? Nope, I like it here. Let's see if light, and notice it's already applying some of the techniques for me. Ooh, light looks good. And look, it already applied the super contrast with the shadows. Let's bring it in here, right about there. But I do want to bring up the highlights and touch them up a little. I'm looking right at the waterfall. A little more right about there. And the midtones. And I don't have to apply all three. I just like to see what it's doing to it. And if I don't like it, like this here, didn't really add too much, so I might as well not even add it at all. But the shadows. Let's balance it out. Just a little right there. Before, after. Very, very, very minute, but it's still there. And then at last, I might as well come up. They already did. They already had structure for me. And notice, by the way, if you see a dot next to one of the tools, it means that tool was used to help create this. And then if you see, let's say, we'll come over here to, we'll use details. Notice there's no dot, and over here, there's no icons. The moment we add just a slight change or whatever, the icons will appear, and so will that dot. So that's just a quick way of me coming down. They added a LUTs here. So what did most of the heavy lifting was that back cloud. Look at that. Oh, I like that a lot. It added a nice mood to this. All right. And then let's go to colors, and again, dial back the saturation a bit, but pump up the muted colors. And there we are. And part of being really good at editing is knowing when to step away, knowing when to say, okay, I'm done, let's leave, all right? So let's check these out again. Give it a second to refresh. We start out with this image here. Once again, we applied a template to it. Then my favorite three that I usually start with, Accent AI, into the light tool, down to the super contrast. Once I feel I have what I want, then I can easily just jump right in and get those in there. So now for the rest of you, in the comments below, please let me know what are some of your go-to tools that you use on a regular basis that it's like, you know what, every one of my images has this. There we go. Yeah, I'm getting a little lag here. So what are some of your favorite tools that no matter what, you love to jump in, and you know that this tool is going to give me the results I need, and then I can move on from there. All right? Pat's asking, do you think they'll ever add, or do they think they'll ever add any of the on and off switch to light tool? Well, I don't know yet, but I'll write that down, and we'll just touch base, and I'll find an answer on why there's no on and off switch for the light tool. Carol, any quick edits for the Milky Way shots? Interesting. Let's do this. I believe so, but you know what we could do? Let's come over here and help. We're going to go right to Luminar Marketplace. I could have sworn, but I'm not 100% positive. 100% positive. I could have sworn that let me hide that. Let me go here. That there was something in the marketplace here. Let's go to templates. And was it Moody Days? So I'm just going down. I could have sworn I saw nighttime photography. I could be wrong. I'll find out. Let me see signature templates. Nope. Interesting. All right. Drone and nope. I am so sorry. For some reason, I thought I saw nighttime astro type photography, like showing the Milky Way and stuff. But that'll be a good suggestion to give to our team. Okay, wait, maybe here. Earth from above. Let's see what that does. Nope. Not high enough. You want Earth way. You want to go off of Earth and go way up. So I apologize on that. Nope. I thought I had a quick fix to show you, but obviously I don't. So it's not there. But yeah, I'll check with the team. And I could, like I said, I could have sworn that I saw something with the nighttime Milky Way shots. All right. So I'll double check and I'll let you know on that. Carol, you can always email me at vanelli@skylum.com, and you can check with support also. All right. Well, guys, hey, thank you so much for joining me. Next week I'll do the same, something very similar, but strictly with portraits, and I'll show you how I attack my portrait editing workflow. All right. Well, guys, thanks for joining us, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.